I'm Jonathan Tessier, and we're back here with another episode of Wellness Wisdom, and we're here with Rebecca. How you doing, Rebecca?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
So today we're going to talk about something you probably have heard about before, but you might not know a lot about, and it's actually inflammation. So you might hear that word a lot, but you don't know what it means. So what exactly does it mean?
Yes, yeah, I think it's something like you said. We're hearing about it all the time. People are talking about it. So what is it? So I think we talked about cortisol at one point and talked about how it can be really beneficial in small amounts. We need it. We need that kind of fight or flight response at times. But when it's chronically high, that's when we run into a lot of problems. So inflammation is really similar. It's got a job for us, right? So when we get sick, inflammation creeps up and fights that sickness for us and tries to make us healthy. When we get an injury, the inflammation signals all these little guys to go there and help us heal that injury. So in an acute situation like those things, like an illness or an injury, we really love inflammation. It's really important. It's trying to protect us. But again, when it's chronically high, that's when we can run into a lot of problems. So things like, that's when it can be silent. You may not even notice that it's chronically high, but you may notice you're in a little bit more pain, feeling a little bit more sluggish, that kind of thing. So chronically high inflammation can come from a lot of different things. So what might you think chronically high kind of inflammation comes from?
Let's say, I don't know, I hurt my hand and then my hand starts to hurt. Is that inflammation?
Yeah,
or?
That is inflammation, but not necessarily your chronic. So things like your lifestyle, things in your lifestyle can cause chronically high inflammation. So if we're not eating the best diet, that's standard American diet. We're in Canada. We still do it a little bit here. That can lead to high inflammation. So that looks like highly processed foods, a lot of fast foods, maybe some fried foods, not great quality oils, and maybe if you're looking at your plate, it's not a lot of color. So we tried to create a really beautiful, colorful display, and this kind of mimics what we want our plates to look like. I think we talk about that in every single episode. Yep. We want to eat the rainbow. A standard American diet can be the cause of that. Some other things are lack of movement. So a sedentary lifestyle, when we're not having a lot of movement. Obesity is one that leads to high inflammation, because when we have that high, especially abdominal, that visceral fat, those fat cells actually create more inflammation, and you lead into this vicious cycle that can be really difficult. So, movement's going to be really helpful as much as you're able to there. What are some other things that you might think? I'm testing you today.
Well, I know that stress causes inflammation as well. So that's one.
Yeah, stress is a huge one. I think a lot of us, whether we feel it or not, we're on some level of stress. So that can be a really big one. When, again, like I mentioned earlier, that high cortisol, we don't want it chronically high, because then we're getting chronically high inflammation as well. Right. So that is a huge one. Disrupted sleep. Our sleep is so important. Getting that, 8 hours, everyone's a little bit different. Some people need a little bit more, some people need a little bit less, but sleep is huge, because that's when your body's repairing and healing. So if you're not getting good sleep, your inflammation can get quite high. Some other things are just abusing substances, alcohol, cigarettes, vaping, just smoking marijuana. Those kinds of things can lead to chronically high inflammation as well. And another one, we did an episode recently on our gut health, and that's a huge one. Our gut health can be a huge predictor to how much inflammation we have. And we'll get into talking about all these awesome foods that can help, and a lot of them are really centered around providing really excellent gut health.
Absolutely. So I know that for food, antioxidants do help against inflammation. That's correct?
You got it. Yeah. Do you remember what antioxidants are?
A little bit. Yeah. Not be able to describe it.
Yeah. That's perfect. So we'll refresh our memory on that. So you've got free radicals, and then you've got antioxidants. So I think the way that I described it before, one of our senior staff members describes it really well, is you've got this negative person that's going around. That's your free radical. And they're going to talk to somebody else and maybe bring them down a little bit. And then they're going to go talk to someone else, maybe bring them down a little bit. So think of those as your free radicals are attacking your cells. And then antioxidants come in and they squash those free radicals. So what's happening is they're donating an electron. Free radicals are missing one. They're going around trying to find it and wreaking havoc in the meantime. And then these antioxidants come in. You've got these beautiful antioxidant rich foods. They're going to squash those free radicals. So that's really important when it comes to inflammation as well, is really antioxidant rich foods. So we're bringing down those free radicals, which are often causing or are causing inflammation. So again, we want to eat the rainbow. So that's where you're going to see really high polyphenol foods, so which are high in antioxidants. So we can start with berries maybe here. So all of your berries we've got nice fresh blackberries here right now. Raspberries are really excellent that way. And then your blueberries, all those berries are really great. High in polyphenols, not too high in sugar, and really high in fiber. Again, so feeding that great gut bacteria. So berries are an excellent kind of, dare I say, like superfood, just an excellent food for bringing down inflammation.
Let's go over some stuff that I actually really enjoy.
Perfect.
Is some of the apples and stuff like that. So tell me about how apples can help with inflammation.
Yeah, so apples really high in fiber as well, so excellent for your gut bacteria. And so your gut bacteria can produce all different kinds of like beneficial microbes for us, and a lot of those are anti-inflammatory as well. So when you're feeding that, you really are bringing down inflammation. So apples, excellent fiber in there, high in, so you're getting some vitamin C in your apples as well. So really great nutrients in your apples. And you want to eat the skin as much as you can. There's really great nutrients in the skin.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So onions, what about them?
Onions. So onions are one of your brassica vegetables. So along with garlic, along with, we've got broccoli microgreens here, but broccoli as well, and cauliflower. The brassica family also includes like cabbage and leeks. So that brassica family of vegetables is really excellent for reducing inflammation and supporting our gut health. So for example, if we go with, we can just start with our microgreens. So these are a mix of different microgreens, but broccoli is definitely in here. So broccoli itself has what's called sulforaphane, so a really helpful compound, really anti-inflammatory, excellent for your gut as well. And what's really cool about microgreens is it's really concentrated in there. So when they're just starting to kind of sprout, you get that really great concentration of nutrients in there. So that's a really great way to get a high amount of sulforaphane from these brassica vegetables in your diet. A fun fact that I actually just recently learned, I knew that with garlic, it was really beneficial. They call it chop and stop. So you chop it and you leave it for about 10 minutes, and that kind of like unlocks these. You're breaking down cell walls, so it unlocks these beneficial compounds if you're letting it sit for 10 minutes. If we just kind of chop it and throw it in the pan, you can kill some of those off. So you kind of want to chop, stop for about 10 minutes. And I knew this about garlic. Like I said, I didn't realize that extended to like your broccoli, your cabbage, that kind of thing. So you can actually, you'll chop your broccoli, maybe leave it for 10 minutes, and then you're kind of cooking it and throwing it in the pan.
Okay, that's good advice for sure.
Yeah.
So I know that when cooking, the oil is so important. So tell us, we have extra virgin olive oil. So tell us about that.
Yeah, olive oil is excellent for reducing inflammation. It's actually been compared to effectiveness of like ibuprofen as well. So it's not going to work like an ibuprofen. Like you're going to have a couple tablespoons of olive oil and your headache's going to go away necessarily. I mean, I don't think so. But if you're using it kind of proactively, and what's a nice way you can cook with it, you don't want to heat it to too high of a smoke point. I can't remember exactly the temperature. So that's something you want to be mindful of with your olive oil, but it's a really excellent one to just kind of add to your meal. So maybe you're adding salt and pepper to your meal. Maybe you throw your olive oil on the table as well, and you sprinkle it on top of your salads or your veg or whatever it is. I mean, I think probably a lot of us have heard about turmeric. If we haven't, maybe we've heard about curcumin. So curcumin is one of the compounds that you're going to find in turmeric, and it's been really well studied for reducing inflammation. Again, kind of similar to what I talked about with our olive oil, it's been studied against ibuprofen to be, if you're proactively kind of consuming that, it's going to help reducing inflammation as well, if not better than your ibuprofen. But again, you have to be proactive. You can't just chomp on some turmeric and expect your headache to go away necessarily.
Of course, yeah.
So curcumin in their turmeric is a really awesome compound. For me, I'm a big fan of consuming the whole food because yes, we can go grab a curcumin supplement. Again, really well studied for reducing inflammation, but there's more than just curcumin in this turmeric. There's lots of other like actual different types of curcuminoids in there, lots of other different beneficial compounds. So it's really nice to have that whole food. But what you do want is some either black pepper or some chili actually as well can help with the absorption of that curcumin and that turmeric. So pairing those together is nice. So just really spicing up your dish with some turmeric, whether that's in a whole food form or, you know, you're adding like sprinkling in some turmeric. So that's a really awesome anti-inflammatory food as well. So if you are used to more of that standard American diet, this might not appeal to you at first, but your palate does adjust, your gut microbes adjust, and they're going to start to crave these foods as well. So the last one is probably one of the more fun ones. Chocolate. So chocolate is excellent anti-inflammatory food, really high in polyphenols as well, but you do want to look for at least a 70% dark chocolate. So 70% cacao content in there. And we've got lots of different options as well. If you're really hardcore, we've got 100% cacao chocolate bar. And then we've got some that are just, you know, your 70% cacao. And this one here has got your berries in there. So you've got your cacao in there, and then you've got your raspberry and cherry. So awesome superfood chocolate bar. And you really are kind of wanting to just have like 3 or 4 squares of this. But what you might find if you're not a dark chocolate consumer is you probably don't necessarily want more than that anyways.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, well, you know, that's a lot of great information, and you know, I learned a lot for sure, and you know, we're going to be back with another video very soon, so stay tuned and keep watching. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining.